CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Off the top, taking a live look across South Florida, we had a pleasant and dry day so far with temperatures in the upper 80s, but we could see a change as we approach the weekend. And we are also tracking Tropical Storm Sarah in the Caribbean. The storm is soaking Honduras and the Yucatan. Next, with our chief meteorologist and hurricane specialist, Ivan Cabrera, joins us with when we could see those changes.
All the changes are happening as we speak, and you're going to feel them big time as we head through the rest of tonight. Now, we're still ahead of the front. That's why temperatures are still in the mid-80s, and it's a little bit humid out there, but the front is on our doorstep here. It's about to move in as we head through the rest of the evening. And when you take a look at an MRI from the atmosphere here, you see all that orange. That is a lot of dry air that's punching in here. So as the front pushes in, the dry air is upstairs. The dry air is at the surface with these dew points crashing into the 40s and 50s. That is really dry stuff and very comfortable. Notice still very humid out ahead of it, but we'll start working on that as the front comes in, humidity drops, and then the temperatures will follow in the same direction here going down. There is 73 degrees in the middle of the afternoon with full sunshine in Orlando, so that's kind of the setup that we have coming up. We'll be a little warmer than that. We're not going to stay as cool as that tomorrow, but it'll be a nice refreshing change. So there's the front there. The temperature still in the 80s. Next weather radar network still going to pick up on a couple little showers here and there. They're going to be streaming in from north to south. There's not much moisture to work with here, but wouldn't be surprised if you get just a couple of sprinkles on the windshield as you're driving about for the rest of tonight, but it won't be a big deal. And then we have this nice comfortable setup here as far as the humidity coming down through the next few days. So this is where we are now. This is where we're headed for tomorrow with those cooler temperatures, less humidity, and the combination making it feel great. Now we start a warming trend. It'll be nothing dramatic, and it'll be slight here. So we're just going to get temperatures a little bit warmer, and the humidity is going to come back. And that's going to be ahead of the next front number 2 that comes in next week. Get ready for sweater weather. This is going to be the first real bona fide cold front that will make it feel like we're in another season. So that's something to look forward to if you prefer the cooler temperatures. You see those quick moving showers there from north to south. That's the front behind it. Next weather rain tracker not picking up on much. Now, anytime you get a bit of a northeast wind, this is not going to be a northwest dry inland flow the whole time. A little bit of Atlantic moisture, so we'll keep rain chance at around 10%, but that would be it for your weekend. I still think we're looking good. Same deal as we head into Sunday. And then we have to talk about the tropics because, Sarah's still down there pummeling Honduras with some areas have already picked up 20 inches of rainfall. We had talked about that yesterday, and the thing is just not moving. Remember yesterday it was moving at 10 miles an hour? It is basically stalled 2 miles an hour. We are walking faster than this thing is moving. So that is going to be a huge problem for them. And then eventually no change with the forecast track. That's just in from the National Hurricane Center. It strengthens a little bit, still below hurricane status, but it's just going to be a big rainmaker there. And it will interact even more so once it leaves the water here towards Mexico, and that will weaken it even more so. So still heavy rain on the way, but as that feature weakens, we'll be in much better shape. But we'll get some of that moisture eventually ahead of the next front for next week. Looking good for both your Saturday and your Sunday. And your next weather 7-day forecast will feature again very low rain chances until we get to Wednesday. That is part of the moisture from Sarah coming in, getting swept in by the front. And look at these temperatures, Naja Sherman, 50s for overnight lows by next Friday morning.
Looking forward to that cool down. Thank you, Ivan. A sigh of relief for a South Florida neighborhood. Detectives put a serial Peeping Tom behind bars. Investigators say the man was involved in several incidents of exposing himself. CBS News Miami's Peter Dinch at the scene, and he spoke to neighbors.
Miami-Dade Police Detective Artemis Colome says that police are relieved by this arrest. He says there are at least 10 cases dating back to May. Now, police say the Peeping Tom struck, get this, 3 times at this home in Country Walk. He was arrested after being caught on surveillance tape last night. Police say 26-year-old Yoel Antonio Setien Martinez admitted to entering backyards, staring at victims, exposing himself, and pleasuring himself, and even leaving bodily fluids on one window. No one was hurt, but Colome and neighbors were very concerned.
Well, it's about time that did happen because he's been running around here all over the neighborhood.
As a neighborhood, we should look out for each other, and I'm sure he was caught because the neighbors actually were looking for him.
You have an individual that's going out there, getting inside people's properties, looking through their window, exposing himself and pleasuring himself. We're just fortunate that this was occurring outside. But imagine if this person's capable of doing such things, we don't even want to imagine what he could have done to a physical person if a person would have gone onto their backyard.
Setien Martinez faces charges including burglary of an occupied dwelling, voyeurism, and indecent exposure. I spoke with one victim off camera. She told me that she, too, is relieved by this arrest. Police say there may be other victims out there, and if there are, they would like to hear from them. We'll have much more on this story coming up at 5 in just 1 hour. In Country Walk, Peter Dench, CBS News, Miami.
A disturbing crime out of Miami. 37-year-old Yosvani Gonzalez was in court today. He was arrested and charged with lewd and lascivious conduct on a child. Investigators say the suspect was engaging in explicit conversations and sharing inappropriate videos and photos with a 12-year-old girl. Detectives posed as the victim. The suspect agreed to meet up along Northwest 7th Street and 39th Avenue. He was quickly arrested. A judge set his bond at $55,000. He was also put on house arrest with a GPS monitor. President-elect Donald Trump picking loyalists to fill key positions in his second administration. But as CBS News Miami's Nicole Skenga reports, getting some of the more controversial candidates approved by the Senate could prove challenging.
The debate over Senate confirmation for some of President-elect Donald Trump's more controversial cabinet picks is already underway on Capitol Hill.
I think the Senate should do everything they possibly can to approve those and to nominate them and get them through the confirmation process.
There are, I think, a number of nominees that have got a lot of tough questions to answer.
House members left for the weekend without an ethics committee vote on whether to release a report looking into allegations of sexual misconduct by former Congressman Matt Gaetz, Trump's choice for Attorney General.
I do not believe that that is an appropriate thing. It doesn't follow our rules and traditions, and there is a reason for that, because it would open a Pandora's box.
But some lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say the report should be made public.
I think it's important for them to have all critical information that they need to make an intelligent decision.
When you have these sort of complaints and investigations, it's always better to find out before than after.
Another cabinet pick that could face a confirmation battle here on Capitol Hill, Trump's choice to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I just looked at the news reports. People like you, Bobby. Don't get too popular, Bobby.
Kennedy's anti-vaccine activism has several lawmakers questioning whether he should oversee the nation's public health agenda.
All my kids are vaccinated, and I hope he's not going to move against one of the most life-saving technologies in the history of the world.
Kennedy is also facing another challenge from some conservatives. Former Vice President Mike Pence called on Republicans to block Kennedy's nomination because of his record supporting abortion rights. Nicole Skenga, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
When we come back, a weigh-in between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul taking an intense turn as they prepare for tonight's big fight. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. With the holiday season approaching, many of us will have our fair share of sugar. The American Heart Association says on average, we eat more than 2 to 3 times the recommended amount of sugar each day. CBS News Miami's Kristen Mitchell has found some helpful tips on cutting back.
The season of sweets is never ending at Regina's Candies in St. Paul.
How much sugar do you eat a day, you think?
A lot.
What does sugar do to our body?
It goes into our bloodstream, and then our friend insulin puts it into our cells so that we can utilize it for energy.
Dr. Allison Golnick is an integrative pediatrician at Alina Health.
If we have too much sugar, insulin can burn out, causing diabetes. And if we have too much sugar, our body has to store it somewhere, so it gets stored as adipose tissue, contributing to obesity.
How do you feel after you eat a lot of sugar? Do you notice a change in your body?
I think I get a hit of energy and then I get sleepy.
How much sugar should we be consuming a day?
In general, you want to have less than 25 grams of added sugars. A little more maybe for men, a little less for kids.
25 grams of sugar is about 6 teaspoons. May sound like a lot, but it's easy to consume that amount in just 1 serving. These candy bars, for example, have about 25 grams of sugar. And soda, an astounding 75 grams. So drinking one of these bottles would be about 3 times your daily limit.
Diet or zero sugar labeled foods contain artificial sweeteners, which doctors say can be harmful too.
The big whammy with these is that they're like 100 times as sweet as sugar. So they're training our taste buds to love sugar and want more and more and more.
Dr. Golnick recommends pairing sweets with fiber or protein, eating a savory breakfast instead of sweet, and taking a walk after eating.
I think there are more healthy things that are easy to grab instead of a cookie if you have discipline.
Discipline and understanding often confusing nutrition labels can help set you up for sweet success.
Kirsten Mitchell, CBS News.
Tonight, it is the fight many have been waiting for. Mike Tyson is ready to face off against social media star Jake Paul. During their final stare down last night, take a look. Tyson slapped Paul. After Tyson weighed in at 233 pounds, he approached Paul, who crawled up to him. Tyson didn't like that. He slapped Paul and then said he would unleash the devil himself during the fight. You can watch that full fight card starting tonight on Netflix at 8 p.m. Happening tonight, the last supermoon of 2024. That's when the moon is closest to the Earth. That makes it brighter and bigger than usual. This moon will also be a beaver moon. November is when beavers prepare for the winter by strengthening their dams and storing more food. That's your CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami, and have a great Friday.